Hey, what's going on? We are officially live, which is awesome. Hope everyone had a great, a great 420 yesterday for anyone who does partake. No judgment here. Either way, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, this is live every Thursday at 9 p.m. I know we're a little bit late today. Son was having a hard time going to sleep. And we're getting ready for his first birthday, so we've been a little bit busy on our end. But anyway, today we have a few really interesting stories. Originally I was going to lead with the story involving Libs of TikTok actually being doxxed, but man, there's something way better that happened today. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have already seen it, but CNN Plus is officially shutting down after only a month of being out. Like I said before, we will still talk about the Libs of TikTok incident because there's some interesting things happening there, including Taylor Lorenz now being sad that she's now being doxxed. What do you expect? And then, of course, we have Florida. We have Florida still going out there doing God's work, right? They have just sat there and slapped Disney down like crazy. And what they just did is insane to Disney. And it's I'm so happy to see it because, let's face it, someone needs to shut them down, right? So we'll go ahead and get started right here, and we'll go ahead and jump right into this story. CNN is shutting down after less than a month after ill-fated launch. Man, you just hate to see it, don't you? Don't you just hate to see it? Warner Bros. Discovery is expected to shut down CNN Plus just 3 weeks after the cable networks launched the failing streaming service, according to reports. CNN boss Chris Licht, who officially starts his new job on May 1st, told staffers on a midday meeting Thursday that this was an incredibly successful launch. Really? Okay, that's what he went with. But that it wasn't compatible with Warner Bros. Discovery's new plan, according to reports by CNN. Now, real quick, this was not a successful launch. This was not a successful launch. And just last week, there was a report out by CNBC. CNN struggles to lure in viewers in its early days, drawing fewer than 10,000 daily users. Less than 10,000 daily users. So listen, this was not a successful launch. And I don't know who thought it would be a good idea in the first place, right? CNN, they are just failing on every metric right now. And somebody said, you know what would really work well for us? Why don't we make people pay to not watch our stuff, right? Let's have people pay for more of what they clearly don't like. Someone thought that was actually apparently a good idea. So this was not a successful launch. It is not your fault that you had the rug pulled out from underneath you. That's kind of true for the employees. According to CNN, Andrew Morse, the executive vice president in charge of CNN Plus and all CNN digital business, will depart the company. Wow, they just straight up leaving. The report said during the meeting, the CEO and president of Warner Bros. Discovery, Global Streaming, and Interactive Entertainment, that's a long-ass title, J.B. Parrett, not sure, expressed frustration with CNN's prior leadership, which was led by Jeff Zucker until February, after, of course, it came out he was having some extramarital affairs happening inside the office, and Warner Bros. Media, which was led by Jason Killer until early April. Some of this was avoidable, Peretti reportedly said, but the prior leadership decided to keep going with the planned March release of CNN Plus despite the impeding merger. So, one thing you're seeing a lot on Twitter is this idea that the merger with Discovery is what's causing it to go down. Again, if they thought this was profitable, they would have kept it. They would have kept it if they thought this was profitable. All right, all the merger is the parent company saying, you know what? We have a better avenue to do this than CNN Plus because CNN Plus is not working for us. If CNN Plus had tons of active users and was constantly gaining more traction, they would have easily said, all right, well, clearly it's going to become profitable within a reasonable time frame, so let's keep at it. Let's keep moving for it. Instead, they decided, maybe we can shift our attention elsewhere and save some cash, because Lord knows what they were paying the quote-unquote talent for CNN Plus, because they got some big names. They got some big names in there. Litch circulated the memo obtained by the Post ahead of the midday meeting, thanking them for flawlessly launching CNN Plus in a very short period of time. He added that as part of the transition, all CNN employees will continue to be paid and receive benefits for the next 90 days and are encouraged to explore job openings at CNN, CNN Digital, and elsewhere in the Warner Bros. Discovery family. At the end of that period, departing CNN Plus employees will receive a minimum of 6 months severance, depending on the length of service at CNN. That is a pretty damn good severance, if I do say so myself. I mean, 6 months. A 6-month severance, man. I mean, I should have gone and worked for them. Man, really, hire me for a month or so, give me that minimum 6 months, and I'm out. That's crazy. 6 months severance. The few who subscribed to CNN Plus will receive prorated refunds of the $5.99 a month subscription fee, the company said. I can't believe someone actually paid $6 a month to go watch more CNN. Just nuts. Prior to Thursday's decision, the future of CNN Plus was in doubt as the new corporation parent Warner Bros. Discovery was looking to cut cost and reorganize the company. Warner Bros. Discovery, which formed last week out of the merger between Discovery and Warner Media, is in the process of shoring up at least $3 billion in cost savings in 2023. Man, I wonder how much CNN Plus really cost them. Really, I mean, when you think about all this stuff, right? You got the talent, which is going to be in just the millions, right? I mean, the talent's going to be in the millions because these people don't work for cheap. I don't get why. Like, you could easily put someone like, I don't know, you could put any of the members of the Daily Wire on a television show and they would do far better than what these idiots do. You could put Steven Crowder, Tim Pool, Gavin McInnes, if he still does stuff. I don't know. I'm just listing off names at this point. But my point is that all these online personalities that have these huge followings are far more talented than the host that they have on modern, like, mainstream media. And yet these hosts are still getting paid in the just millions of dollars every year. Millions. For doing what? I mean, really, for doing what? They don't do much. They do less work than a lot of YouTubers out there. They do less just researching before a topic. They are not nearly as entertaining as many YouTubers out there. And yet, they get paid millions to do what except push whatever the parent company wants them to push. It's just kind of bizarre. You would think they would be able to hire, like, some different people for, I don't know, instead of millions, maybe like $500,000, and get actually better qualified people and actually, save some money that way too. As part of its review of CNN Plus, which has roughly 150,000 subscribers, damn, I didn't even expect them to have that much. WBD, I guess that's what we're calling them, is suspending all external marketing spend, according to a report from Axios titled CNN Plus Looks Doomed. Yeah, they are doomed. They are totally doomed at this point. The publication says CNN's original plan to become profitable in 4 years by investing $1 billion in the service is being kneecapped, citing plans to eliminate high-level positions across Warner Media. This includes potentially replacing Chris Cuomo's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time primetime slot with a live newscast instead of a personality-driven perspective programming. Again, instead of a live newscast, why don't you hire someone who's actually has a personality? Like Chris Cuomo himself, before they let him go, had no personality to him. Or he was terrible. He was awful. He was absolutely awful. At least you can say with Tucker Carlson, that guy has a personality, right? Bill O'Reilly, I don't really like Bill O'Reilly, all right? I kind of think he's a war hawk. Not a big fan of him, to be honest. I mean, I have his book up here, but like, I don't know. It just seems kind of very, very, very neocon, if you really know what I mean, right? So I'm not a big fan of Bill O'Reilly, but what I will give O'Reilly is that he had a personality. It was different, right? You could watch all the other news channels, and when you got to Bill O'Reilly, you knew you were watching the O'Reilly Factor. I'm not saying I liked him, or I did like him back in the day, I guess, but not saying now I actually like what the O'Reilly Factor was. But he had a personality. Glenn Beck, when he was on, I think he was on CNN as well at one point, but Glenn Beck obviously had a crazy personality, right? Especially back in the day. He's calmed down a lot now, but he had a crazy personality back in the day. You know, there's a lot of people out there that have great personalities who have been on mainstream media, but not so much anymore. You only have a few left at this point. Greg Gutfield, I guess, kind of, but even he's started to kind of become kind of dull as well. My point is, why not just find someone in the YouTube space? I don't get. You could find so many other well-qualified people to replace any of these hosts for a fraction of the cost, and instead they just go, nah, we're just going to do a live newscast instead of a personality-driven perspective programming, which is a hell of a way to phrase just having someone entertaining talk about the news. A spokesman for the WBD declined to comment. Cuomo was fired from CNN in early February. Yep, after I'm surprised they actually listed in here. Normally they say it just for the sexual harassment. But the main thing was for advising his brother, the New York governor, Andrew Cuomo, on how to dodge his own sexual harassment accusations. And he had some accusations himself. The anchor sued CNN for $125 million, calling his termination the epitome of hypocrisy, which says a lot about CNN right there. And it just kind of goes some details about everything that went down between them and kind of some stuff when it came to the mix-up of everything that kind of happened going forward with CNN. Roughly $300 million have been spent and hundreds of jobs have been created to support the streaming service to date. God, what a waste. What a waste. So 300 million. No, let's do some quick math real quick. Let's pull up a calculator, shall we? Because I'm not as good at doing math in my head. So let's just round up, say $6 times 150,000 subscribers. Because it said it had 150,000 subscribers. Mind you, some people actually got in cheaper if they bought a lifetime. So we don't know what that is. But let's be courteous. Let's say it was $6 for every person a month. 900,000 a month, which means just 900,000 now. So let's times that by 12. So they spent $300 million to get the thing up and running. And in 1 year, at their current rate, they would only be making about right around $11 million. So not even 10% of their investment back within the first year if things stayed the same at where they are. And that's also assuming people don't drop off, right? If only 150,000 people subscribed, how many of them will leave after a couple months when they realize that, well, it's not what I want, or maybe I just don't have the budget for it, right? So, I mean, you can be assured that it probably would stay somewhere around that, given just the current climate going on when it comes to streaming services. People don't want to be paying for more streaming services, right? People don't feel the need to pay for more streaming services. But just about $11 million is all they would make in an entire year at their current rate. And they spent $300 million to just get this thing up and running, which means more expenses would come. More expenses would pile on top of that. Who knows? The amount of money they would make per year, they'd probably be operating at a loss just for their yearly budgeting, not including what they had just for the setup, right? And we don't know how much that $300 million was part of setup versus how much of it was going to be spent throughout the year either. So all we know is that they did not come even close. They didn't come even close to paying for this. So, I mean, this is really just a great example of just an abysmal failure, right? Just an absolutely abysmal failure, which is just excellent to see because, God, we all knew it was going to be a big joke from the get-go, but I'll be honest, I really thought they would make it for more than a month. I really thought they would make it for more than a month, but what you going to do, right? I mean, apparently... I knew CNN was bad. I just didn't think. I thought they at least had enough cult members that they would be able to at least pay for it for longer than a month. Oh boy, so that was some good news. That was some really, really good news. I wanted to lead with that because I just wanted to start with something happy and more upbeat. But let's go to some what I think is actually even more important news than this, to be perfectly honest. And that is, of course, the doxing of Libs of TikTok. Sorry, mouth a little dry. I had to get some water. So, for those of you who haven't heard, Libs of TikTok was okay. There's like a video going on of some dude rescuing a baby from a fire. Okay, well, let's just. Good for him. Good for him, I guess. But I need something else down there. That's gonna be distracting. Oh yeah, look at that beautiful face right there, huh? The face of truly a excellent journalist. So Libs of TikTok. As you know, as you probably know, all they really do is they take videos from leftists on TikTok and post them on Twitter. That's it. That's literally all she does. All she does is go, oh, that's an interesting video that this leftist has put, tweets it on Twitter, and just says, you know what, look at this crazy person. Isn't that nuts? You know, like basically all of us do. Almost all of us do this. When you look at all those videos of like Karens, you know, quote unquote, because I really hate that whole Karen thing's been overplayed all to hell at this point. But, you know, when they've had these videos of, you know, Karens freaking out, and they're doing the same exact damn thing. They're saying, look at this crazy person. Isn't it nuts? So Libs of TikTok does it. They go through and find a bunch of crazy leftists and say, oh, wow, look at this person. Aren't they nuts? Aren't they crazy? And somehow this was enough to get a news story written about them. Now, written about them is one thing. Saying, hey, you know, there's people sharing a lot of these fringe leftist viewpoints, and they can even make the argument that maybe these people are straw manning the Democrat position. I think that position has become more and more mainstream, at least on the online platforms. I think it's fair to say. So I wouldn't say so, but you know, they could have an argument there. They could say, hey, this, you know, you're seeing a lot of people online sharing fringe elements of the left to strawman the Democrat Party as a whole. I would disagree with that, but that would be a reasonable thing maybe to write about. And you can point out, hey, in this one account, Libs of TikTok is famous for it and has hundreds of thousands of followers because they just keep on at it and do a great job with it. But no, they take a step further. They wrote a whole article talking about Libs of TikTok and how evil they are for sharing videos of crazy people, saying they're undermining the gay community and, you know, very hateful rhetoric towards the LGBT as a whole, because a lot of people they show are people who are dealing with trans issues. And let's be honest, when you have someone saying that they actually believe they're a dog, they're going to come across a little crazy, and it's going to be a little cringe for a lot of people watching. So it's not a good look. But here's the deal. This person posted it publicly. Libs of TikTok shares it, and then they get upset. When all Libs of TikTok is doing is, for one, pushing your content out to more people. Congratulations, more people have heard about you. Isn't that great? Isn't that what you want? Isn't that exactly why you put something public? I would love if more people shared this stuff. You know, share the video if you like it. I would love if people would share some of my videos, even if it was insulting them. Like, I know my videos aren't great. I'm still working at this. This is still kind of new for me. But, you know, why would you care? Why would you care that people are sharing it out to more people? Even if it's people that don't like you, it's getting out there. It's getting plays. So if you really are truly standing by your opinion, then you should be happy about that. 2, all she's really doing is actually doing exactly what the left has been criticizing people on the right for a long time of not doing, and that is breaking out of your echo chambers. See, the left is in an echo chamber. The left is totally an echo chamber. Libs of TikTok, however, shows that Republicans are not in an echo chamber. All right? We're constantly looking for stuff that the left is saying. We're constantly hearing their positions in their entirety. She doesn't edit these videos. It's just their whole video. And that's it. You don't see any accounts on the left that do nothing but share right-wing clips. Or not even clips, but right-wing whole videos like Libs of TikTok does. Libs of TikTok literally takes the entirety of the video, reposts it so more people can see it. And that's it. She doesn't edit any of it. She doesn't add, you know, spicy commentary behind it. I mean, she puts a comment above it, but the video itself is the original creator's whole content and nothing but. It is entirely the right proving the right actually breaks out of the echo chambers. While the left wants to stay in echo chambers. The left doesn't want the right knowing what the left is doing. So Taylor Lorenz sees this, and they write a whole article saying that, you know, she's you know, Libs of TikTok, she's hateful towards the gay community, and in doing so, doxed Libs of TikTok by including a link in their original article that had her home address in it. Now, their excuse is they say, oh, it was her work address. No, you don't understand. Her work license is tied to her house. That's her house is listed as her place of business because of what she does and the nature of what her career is, which isn't surprising because I've been in positions where I've listed my house as things in that nature as well. You know, it just is very, very, very common practice actually to do, especially if you're starting up your own business. It's very common when, especially you don't work directly out of an office and you work mainly from home, you list your home as your place of business. So their argument is, well, you know, we didn't link to that. We never linked to her home address. We linked to her business license that has her business address. Well, they knew they linked to something bad because within hours of the article being up, they deleted or they re-edited the article. They took it out. They retracted it without, mind you, putting a retraction notice on the article itself, and then claimed they never did it. At first, you know, they took it out, then claimed we've never done it. We've never done it. Then they went, well, I guess we kind of did it. You know, we posted a link to her business, right? So they've straight up lied about how they done this. Not only that, but they actually went to the family members of Libs of TikTok to try to interview them about the whole stuff, because that's how far we're going to go for someone who just repost videos. That's all. They just repost videos. I think if someone showed up to your house and said, you know, you're retweeting a lot of interesting stuff, why would that be a news story? Why would that be a news story? That's all she's doing. And for the most part, she's just kind of retweeting or sharing TikToks. That's it. Something that we all do every single day almost. So we got right here, Taylor Lorenz, the Washington Post internet culture beat reporter, is being accused of doxing the anonymous woman who operates a popular Twitter account, Libs of TikTok. Lorenz, the former New York Times journalist who earlier this month broke down in tears on MSNBC while recounting harassment she's experienced online, published an article on Tuesday revealing the identity of the social media user. Doxing is a term used to describe the act of posting personal information. Critics accused Lorenz of hypocrisy after it was claimed that she showed up at the home of the woman's relatives to ask questions. Libs of TikTok, which posts TikTok videos of liberals, has generated more than 662,000 followers. My God, great job. I mean, amazing job. Posted with an image of Lorenz outside the home of one of her relatives. Which of my relatives did you enjoy harassing the most at their homes yesterday? Read the caption, attached to the photo of the woman who bears Lorenz's likeness. So this is what Glenn Greenwald said. Perhaps there's a small difference between investigating crimes with powerful U.S. officials and doxing anonymous Twitter users. The failures to recognize this distinction is a key pathology to modern-day journalists. Why Assange is in prison and TikTok Taylor is a star reporter. That's great. And that was a response to Alex Thomas saying that people showing up to homes is just standard journalism. The same people who just 2 weeks ago were insisting that criticizing Taylor Lorenz is wrong because it generates harassment towards her are now cheering as she shows up at the homes of the relatives of Twitter users to dox them. Journalists are the top of the caste order, and that are at the top of the caste order. That is 100% true. It used to be journalists were kind of low, right? You know, they barely got by. They barely had much money, and they were kind of seen as more of a nuisance because, well, back then they actually kind of did their jobs to a certain extent. You know, a journalist that's disliked is the best journalist to follow, because that means they're probably the ones who are actually really looking hard for actual evidence of wrongdoing. Ben Shapiro, of course, Taylor Lorenz is a terrible journalist and a worse human being, targeting a Twitter account that literally just posts leftists owning themselves because that's the account, or because that account damages the left, or I can't speak all of a sudden. Because that account damages the left is pure Lorenz. And that's exactly what it said. So yeah, here's the picture of her actually apparently at the relative's home, which is just nuts she would do that to someone. Lorenz defended her decision to reveal the woman's identity, tweeting, "Reporters make phone calls, send messages, show up to places, knock on doors when reporting out on a story." Lorenz added, "I reported this story out of out extensively using every tool I had to ensure I had the correct woman. Well, I don't care if you had the correct woman. The point is, you were doxing the correct woman. That still makes it bad. It still makes it wrong. In response to the criticism that she's targeted a private citizen who wishes to remain anonymous, Lorenz tweeted that social media user isn't just some average woman with a social media account, but is instead a powerful influencer operating a massively impactful right-wing media shaping discourse around LGBTQ rights. Listen, maybe you could say her name. But if you're just doing a story on Libs of TikTok, why do you even have to do that? I really want to know. And mind you, through all of this, the Washington Post is still apparently backing Taylor Lorenz after doxing her. Even though it's been proven at this point that yes, they did dox her, the Washington Post is still defending her. Now, here's where it gets a little interesting. So, obviously, Libs of TikTok has been getting tons of death threats now. You know, this is someone... Assassination mode activated. Activation word Libs of TikTok target blanked out because... You know, obviously we don't want to continue to dox her any further. And, yeah, someone basically threatening to kill her, right? And, of course, someone else here, you know, basically saying that, oh, yeah, this is a base tweet, right? Like, just absolutely insane. The left is actively advocating for violence to be done at the person who they doxed. And they... Just Twitter allows this crap. Twitter actually allows this crap. Because they don't care if you're on the left and doing it, right? But look at this. For that tweet, actively targeting someone. Twitter, thanks for reaching out. We reviewed the content and didn't find a violation of our policy, so no action will be taken at this time. When I tweeted about someone giving me the wrong ballot during the election because we don't have voter ID law here in North Carolina and they misheard my name, I got a suspension from Twitter. And again, it's why I'm not going to go into detail how it all happened, because I also got a strike on YouTube. I got a suspension from Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Because I brought up the fact of, hey, you know what? I was given a wrong ballot to vote on. They gave me someone else's ballot. Man, we should really have voter ID laws. And of course, I talked a bit more in depth about that because I think voter ID laws is a very important topic that, of course, because of this, we can't talk about anymore. Anyway, I got banned for that. This person is actively saying they want to kill the person who's behind Libs of TikTok using, of course, the doxed information. And Twitter says, it's okay. It's just fine. It's no problem whatsoever. So here's what I'm wondering. Taylor Lorenz right now is upset because she apparently now is being doxed as well. And I'm not going to pull up any stuff of her being doxed because I don't think doxing overall is right. I just don't. Right? I think it crosses a line in internet discourse. Crosses a major line that we cannot be having happen regularly. Right? It cannot be happen. Or can't not be happening. I'm all over the place today. But it cannot be happening in our modern discourse, right? If it does, it's going to cause nothing but more and more trouble. People are going to be afraid to say their opinions. It's a major problem. With that said, if someone comes and punches you in the face, we can all agree that's wrong. Now, someone sees you get punched in the face and says, I want to go protect that person. And they punch the assaulter in the face. Do we still say that's a bad action? Now, I would never encourage doxing of another individual because, again, I do think it crosses a line we shouldn't cross. But forgive me for not really giving a damn when you already doxed someone else. Your being doxed back is not even nearly comparable to someone who would just sit there who got doxed. Not even remotely comparable. Not saying it's good. Not saying anyone should go and do it, should follow through and do that either. Most people already have. What do you know it? It's not good, but I don't think it's evil. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I don't think it should be allowed. I think everyone who's doxed anyone should be banned, or not banned, suspended for a sec. I don't like banning anyone off social media. I think the whole idea is just awful because it people need to be allowed to be in town square, but the tweet should be removed. They should get a suspension for doxing, right? I think that should be fair for across the board. But you know what? When the Washington Post doesn't get banned, when Taylor Lorenz doesn't get banned, I have a hard time thinking that, that the person who doxed you should get banned. I don't care at this point. If you get doxed, you brought this on yourself by doxing other people first. If you punch someone who punches you first, you are not the bad guy. Even if you go overboard and really hit them way too hard and just knock them clear out and go continue to hit them, it might be wrong. It might not be the best thing for you to do, but it's not exactly evil either, is it? Right? Yeah, if someone punches you and you punch them and knock them to the ground and then keep punching them while they're already down, I don't think that's a smart thing to do. I don't think it's the good thing to do, but I don't think you're evil for doing it. So I just have a hard time believing someone who's doxing Taylor Lorenz is evil. I have a hard time caring that she got doxed in the first place. Maybe, I hate to say it, but maybe she'll think twice before doxing someone else. What do you know? Again, not encouraging doxing, hate doxing. YouTube, you heard me here. You heard it here, YouTube. I do not like doxing. Doxing, bad. I just don't give a damn that it happened to this woman. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, YouTube. Don't get me in trouble here. What do you think? Please put in the comments below. What do you think about that? Am I wrong for saying that I don't really care that this woman got doxxed? Am I wrong about that? Is my analogy just way off base? Please let me know in the comments below. Ooh, boy. So that brings us over now. And that's really about it, right? When it comes to a little bit of TikTok, saga right now, I guess, going on between the two. And who knows how it's going to end up, but it looks like things are leveling off a little bit. Hopefully nothing happens to Libs, right? Hopefully nothing happens to Libs of TikTok, because they're a great follow if you're on Twitter. They're a great follow. Whew, boy. But let's let's move over to Disney, because this is interesting here. This is good. This is real good. All right. Tasty. All right. So, Ron DeSantis out to strip Disney's special status over the Don't Say Gay bill. Kind of wrong. When it comes to framing, it's not the Don't Say Gay bill. It's Parental Rights and Education bill. Just saying. We did a whole in-depth video on it on the channel. You can go check it out. Yeah, it's not the Don't Say Gay bill. All right. It's just all it says is you can't have sex ed for children who are in kindergarten, first and second grade, and that's all it says. Don't talk about sex to kindergartners. What a concept. What a crazy concept. So Disney, of course, decided, we're going to oppose this. We're going to make sure we fight back against it, because we want to talk about sex to children. That's what Disney's saying. Disney is saying we want to talk to children about sex, and we will defend the right to teachers to groom the children when it comes to sex. And I will call it grooming, because one aspect of grooming is making them feel comfortable with that subject in the first place, right? You want to, when you look at, kids who've been groomed, one of the first things they do is try to make stuff like sexual action seem normal, so that way when it happens to the child, they don't typically want to report it, right? So I call what they're doing grooming. Even if it's not grooming, it's at least awful. It's taking away the innocence of a child, right? I mean, they're a child. They have no reference point to what sex even is. If you tell a young boy, oh yeah, well, being gay is where, two guys love each other very much. The 10-year-old boy is just going to say, oh, I love my friend Timmy over there. We're good friends. We like hanging out all the time. I don't like hanging out with girls. I like hanging out with my friend who's a boy. I must be gay. They have no they don't understand it because they don't have a reference point. They haven't gone through puberty, right? They haven't gotten to that point where you start seeing the changes and start noticing the difference between men and women. They don't have a reference point. And people keep saying, hey, you know what? You're okay with teaching them violence. You want to put your kid in boxing when he's young, so you're okay with them understanding violence but not sex? Yes. Because kids I hate to say it, kids are naturally violent. My son is about 1 year old, and he wants to slap the hell out of you every single time he sees you. We've had to try to make sure we stop him with that just a little bit. Kids already at a very young age will hit each other. At 2 years old, if a kid doesn't like another kid, he'll hit the other kid or push the other kid down. Violence comes natural to children. One of the things, I think Thomas Sowell was the one who said it, that like every generation is like having to civilize a horde of barbarians, right? It's, every child, I hate to say, most people say, are they, children are born innocent and good. No, they're not, stupid, okay? You've never had a kid if you think they're born innocent. No, they have an innocence about them and not understanding what is right or wrong. That is their innocence, but they're not born good, right? If you leave a child be and not teach them anything, they will learn to kick, to punch, to bite, do whatever it takes to get what they want. They will not be compassionate. They will not share. This sort of stuff is learned behavior, mostly from watching adults and how adults act around kids. When you sit there and take that toy and shake it around a bit and hand it to them, subconsciously that's teaching them to share a toy. They see you, shake the rattle real quick, and they see you then hand it to them. And they see both of your faces light up. You're teaching them these values. So kids have a reference point when it comes to violence. Back to the point. I know, I like to ramble. Kids have a reference point when it comes to violence. They don't have a reference point when it comes to sex. They have none of those emotions yet. None of that's happening in their body yet. Even if they say, oh, I like Susie over there. They're just kind of doing what... They're modeling behavior of adults is what they're doing. They're not actually feeling this emotional connection the same way that, I feel towards my wife or you feel towards your significant other. They don't feel that because they don't have those hormones yet. They haven't developed yet. So there's no reason to talk to any children of these age brackets about sex at all. At all. If you come up to my kid when he's 6, 7 years old, about the age of, what this bill would affect, and start telling him what, how sex works and what being gay is and what being lesbian is and what being, transgender, I'm going to punch you in the face and call the cops. All right? That's not a conversation for a 6-year-old. That's not a conversation for a 5-year-old. Mind you, there was people teaching this stuff in pre-K for 3 and 4 years old. And Disney tried to defend all of this. Disney tried to say, you know what, we stand against Florida and their laws they decided. So Florida said, you know what, you've been given special status in the state of Florida. And it's a crazy special status, actually. They've been allowed to basically self-govern their entire area, which means they've not been able to, they haven't had to be up to Florida's building codes. They haven't had to follow any really Florida's laws for the most part when it comes to inside their parks. They were basically allowed to self-govern themselves, which is already an insane notion when you think about it, right? We're talking allowing a company to govern themselves. How on earth would this ever be allowed? I mean, for one, listen, I love capitalism. I love capitalism in all its form. And I do think we have a certain level of self-governance that we should be allowed to on an individual level, as well as my business. When I have a business, I shouldn't have to go through all this damn processes when it comes to government. But the big thing here is that Disney was given a special status over mom and pop businesses, over individuals, over just every other town in Florida. They've been given special status to be above everyone else. That's where my problem really is. If they said everyone has the right to self-governing in your own private property, I would say, all right, hell yeah, sure. But that's not what they did. They said, no, you don't get to have that right. It's not your right to have. It's Disney's right to have. And now they're revoking it, finally. So, let's actually get into this article here. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said Tuesday he will formally seek to strip Walt Disney Corporation of self-governing status after it publicly bashed the Sunshine State's so-called "Don't Say Gay" law. Not fucking "Don't Say Gay" law. Stop saying so-called "don't." Just say the Parental Rights and Education Bill. That's it. Just say that. Just say that. They don't. Basically, they bashed the Sunshine State's "Don't Talk About Sex to Kindergartners" law. How's that? DeSantis seen as a potential frontrunner in 2024 presidential nomination. Real quick, if Trump decides to run, DeSantis has no shot, right? If Trump doesn't run, please DeSantis run. Please. I would rather have DeSantis than Trump, but I'm just saying if Trump doesn't win the primary, you'll have a lot of Trump cultists who will never vote for another Republican other than Trump. I'd love you guys out there who like Trump. I like Trump. I voted for him twice, but let's be real. Let's be real. If DeSantis beat Trump, a lot of y'all out there would not vote for DeSantis because y'all want Trump. That's fine. I understand. But it's why also Trump has to win the primary if he runs. But if he doesn't run, then yes, he is a 2024 presidential. He has what it takes to be the front runner for 2024 for sure. Considering termination of all special districts that were announced in Florida prior to 1968, and that includes the Reedy Creek Improvement District, the arrangement confers a wide range of autonomy to the state's largest employer, including control over local police and fire units. Disney, on their property, has control of the police. Can you believe that? That's just nuts to me. I am a huge cat. I'm decently libertarian. I guess I won't really say I'm big L libertarian. I'm small L libertarian is how I like to put it. I like people having a lot of individual liberty over their own property, but control over your own police and fire unit, man, that just sounds nuts. That sounds corrupt as hell. The governor said legislators will discuss discontinuing those privileges at upcoming special session. And I think they actually fully voted through and said, we're taking it away. DeSantis clashed with Disney over recently enacted legislation which bans instruction related to gender identity or sexual orientation for kids in kindergarten through third grade. The bill also said that you can't hide these conversations from parents. And that was the big thing there. Frankly, I think that's the thing they would hate more than not talking sex to kindergartners part. I think when it comes to what they hate most of the bill is that overall, for all grades, you can't hide these conversations from parents. If a kid comes up to you and says, hey, I think I'm trans, the school is obligated to tell the parents, unless the kid shows some type of evidence to say that their parents would possibly abuse them, in which case the school has an exception to not report to parents if it looks like the parents would be abusive because of the information. Now, the issue I have with that is what then defines abusive, right? You know, how do you define that? Is them saying, no, you're not abusive? I don't think so. Is them saying, we're not going to give you hormones abusive? I don't think so. I define abusive as in they can straight up start beating the kid or something like that. You know, like let's beat the trans out of you. If they said something like that, then that would definitely be abusive, right? But there's an exception to say that if a kid feels very bad about it, then the school does not have to report. Now, one thing the school cannot do is even in a situation like that, they can't discourage the kid from talking to their parents. They have to encourage it still. They have to encourage the kid to speak to their parents about this. They're not allowed to hide it. And I think that's really what they're afraid of more than anything else. So backers argue the law seeks to shield young children from inappropriate sexual subject matter. Opponents, including top Disney brass, asserted that the law fosters discriminatory atmosphere against LGBTQ community and should be repealed. Our goal as a company is for this law to be repealed by the legislator or struck down by the... Okay, real quick. Our goal as a company is for the law to be repealed? How is this not just a completely, like, going against your fiduciary duties to your investors at this point, right? People invested in Disney because they want to see Disney make movies and make money. This is them saying, no, our priority isn't that. Our priority is to stop a bill that prevents teachers from talking sex to kindergartners. That's what their priority is, Disney. Disney, that's a hell of a priority, I'll say that. And we remain committed to supporting the national and state organizations working to achieve it, the company said in a statement after its passage. DeSantis, who has repeatedly counterpunched against Disney and said the company is attempting to oppose its woke priorities on Florida. Yes, they are. But can you blame them? I mean, they're their own self-government in Florida. Of course, they're going to try to really push that as much as it can. The Sunshine State approved the creation of the Reed Creek Improvement District in 1967 in order to help lure Disney there. Disney's self-governing status also allows it to levy its own taxes. Holy shit. It levels its own taxes. Wow. And to route that revenue to its own infrastructure. The taxes you pay inside Disney World goes to Disney. Holy shit. How is this ever allowed? How are the left not freaking out about this? This large of a company be able to do all of that? Are you fucking kidding me? And the left is fine with it. And the left is perfectly fine with it. My God. Without the Reedy protections, the land on which Disney World sits will be governed by Orange and Osceola counties, as it should be. They should have no special privileges above whatever you offer to every other business in your state. If your state gives special benefit to one company, you should give it to all companies. I hate this bullshit. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate the idea that states to lure in more business cut special deals with big business while making sure that the small businesses pay the fucking price. All right, I am very freedom-oriented. I am, again, somewhat libertarian on most things. I want there to be low taxes on all businesses. I want there to be very, low property taxes when businesses buy up land to be able to expand. But I want it for everyone. I want it for every single citizen in the state. It should be completely illegal for states to cut these kind of special deals with businesses. I know people will say, "Oh, but James, this is how they bring in business. This is how they bring in more companies to help, stimulate their economies." Listen, there's some things that just on a fundamental basis should not be allowed. All right, the ends don't justify the means. So you're going to say you're going to fuck over mom and pop over there who are just selling, whatever they're selling, to instead allow these big companies to roll in here and decimate the economy and have everyone work for them? No, fuck you. Okay, no, it's absolutely ridiculous. Amazon should have no special rights over what a mom and pop has. Neither should Disney. Neither should just any large company out there. You name a Chase Bank, Bank of America. None of these places should be allowed to have in their corporate, have these special exemptions to have corporate headquarters in these states. Football teams, you see it all the time when it comes to these football teams and stadiums. The taxpayers flip the bill. And the government says, "Oh, don't worry, it's an investment. It's an investment." That, of course, you never really see. You never really see it come back. And some people argue, but it helps cities grow. I'm here in Charlotte, and you know what helps Charlotte grow? To a point, the Panthers. Right? Panthers help make Charlotte grow. I'll admit that. It doesn't mean it was right to do. You know what would have been better to do? How about lower all the regulations across businesses across the board in North Carolina? So not only the Panthers would come in, but all local businesses, tons of businesses would start sprouting up all around here. That would be the right thing to do. But no. The left is content with Disney having its own police force, levying its own taxes. That is the modern left. They are corporatist. While some observers have questioned the will of lawmakers to scrap the arrangement given Disney's economic power, DeSantis says Tuesday that he viewed the push as very important. It damn straight it is. Listen, even if Disney agreed with this bill 100%, even if Disney said, "Yeah, you know what, y'all do what y'all want to do. We're not even going to get involved in politics one way or another," they should still have this sort of special status ripped from them. All right, it does not matter why it's being ripped from them at this point. I just want it ripped from them because it is not right that they have the ability to self-govern when mom and pop down the road don't. When small businesses don't have that same, or not offer that same opportunity. Disney is, no wonder they're able to monopolize so damn much. They're levying their own fucking taxes on their land. And you wonder how they make so much money and how they monopolize the space. Here's the thing. Natural monopolies, I'll move here. Natural monopolies are not bad. When a company can just do the job better than everyone else, that's not a bad thing. Amazon, to a certain extent, it did have some issues, don't get me wrong, there's a lot to go into when it comes to Amazon, but to a large extent was a natural monopoly. They did something better than anyone's done before them. They managed to find a way for people just to buy all the stuff they want online and get to them within basically 2 days in most cases. I mean, I live near a distribution center, so I usually get same day delivery. And listen, Amazon's not a good business, not a good place. But for the most part, their monopoly that they created on the online business space in general, it was a sort of, had some issues again, but it was just about a natural monopoly. So I have a hard time hating on Amazon, but so much. My issue with Amazon comes into the fact of when they were offered special privileges for distribution centers so they could ship it out further. Because again, if I wanted to come up with a competitor towards Amazon, I don't get that same benefit. When it came up and it became what it is, it was a natural monopoly. And as states have basically assisted them and given them special benefits, it's no longer a natural monopoly. Now even Amazon is a government-backed monopoly. And that's where you get evil, when it's a government-backed monopoly. Disney is a government-backed monopoly at this point. No wonder they're able to keep taking over all these different properties. It's because, and while all these are people who are trying to start new things are having a hard time, because Disney's offered special benefits by the government that any competitor to them does not have and does not possess and never will possess unless they manage to somehow overthrow them. It's already an uphill battle if you want to fight Disney. If you want to compete with Disney, you're already going an uphill battle. But when the government comes along and starts giving them special benefits, it's no longer uphill. It is them putting gates along the way to make sure you just cannot get ahead. So it's great to see DeSantis actually, just a politician growing a fucking pair and actually fighting back where people need to fight back. I mean, thank God for DeSantis for actually showing Republicans, hey, guess what? Having a pair of balls actually helps. Now, the funny thing about all of this, really funny, Gavin Newsom, when it talks about the getting rid of Disney's self-governing status, this is what business-friendly means. Actually, yes, because it helps mom and pops all across the area. We protect free speech in California. Oh, God. I don't know why. I was thinking about the bomb part here, but actually that's kind of funny, too, because no, they fucking do not. They do not give a damn about free speech in California. We help our business grow, thrive, and it's almost comedic. It's almost too comedic to read. Business grow, thrive, and invent the future. Yeah, like how Tesla had to leave because of all the restrictions. Punishing businesses for speaking out against hatred is the move of an authoritarian regime. Gavin Newsom having the gall to talk about an authoritarian regime. My God. What a fucking nut. Talking about authoritarian regime. Mind you, he locked down. He said, if you're religious, you cannot worship your God. It is against the law to worship your God. That is what Gavin Newsom did. That is what Gavin Newsom did. That is what New York did. They said, if you want to worship your God, you are not allowed to. You will be arrested for worshiping out in the open. How the hell will he have any right to say anything about authoritarian regime? Telling businesses you can't have a livelihood. You have to be shut down. Well, the big businesses, though, they can remain open. Amazon can remain open. You, mom and pop store, no, you will be shut down and your livelihood will be taken away from you and you will be happy with the scraps we offer. That is California. That is a big reason why Tesla left, don't forget. Because of all the crazy restrictions they had. California is one of the most totalitarian regimes there are in the entire country. All right, you can barely buy a weapon there at all, even though we have the Second Amendment that should go through the entire country. You can't buy an AR-15 in California. Can't buy an AK. Can't buy, basically almost all forms of actual self-defense rifles are pretty much outlawed there, to be perfectly honest. If you want a self-defense firearm, you just can't get it in California. You just cannot have any true self-defense firearms in California. Authoritarian regime, my God. What a jackass. Really, what a jackass. Man, we need that national divorce. Just let California go off and be their own bunch of half-wits running over there and just let them run the place into hell. That's what LA's become at this point. But Gavin Newsom, man, just fuck you. Really, what a terrible piece of shit. So, And here's the thing, in reference to this bill, this was from Brandon Leslie. So Charles Crist is the is running for governor in Florida against Ron DeSantis, and he was asked about sex ed for first graders, and here was his response.
Indicated, like, would you support just a ban on that specifically?
A ban on what?
On the teaching by public teachers of those like explicit materials in K through 3 and controversial like gender identity issues and sexual orientation for first graders and second graders. Would you support banning that specifically?
It's irrelevant right now because that's a choice I don't have. That's not the bill they passed. They extended it further.
Do you think the teachers should be able to instruct first graders and second graders on very sensitive topics like that? Or do you think that's more of a parental thing?
It would depend on what the bill says, and I can't give you an answer that's hypothetical.
So if you couldn't hear, and I hope you could, but if you couldn't hear, just sum it up. He basically asked them, hey, in reference to the bill that got passed in Florida, do you think that first graders should be allowed to talk about sex in first grade? And his response was, well, that's not the bill they passed. The bill they passed went far beyond it. Of course, without listing any of the things that are bad beyond that, because they really don't have anything. This is them just spitting out platitudes because they don't really know what they're really talking about. They just don't want to piss off their base. But he goes, they just extend past that. And so he then asks them, well, okay, so in reference to only that one particular issue, do you think it's okay for first grade teachers to talk about sex to first grade students? And he goes, well, I can't really say anything about it because, I can't answer a hypothetical. Bitch, that's not a hypothetical. That's a direct question. Do you or do you not believe that first graders should be talked to about sex? He didn't ask him a hypothetical. He asked him a straightforward question. But even the person running for governor in Florida on the Democrat ticket can't even say yes or no to should first graders be having sexual conversations with their teachers. That is where we have gotten. That is where we are now. Absolutely insane. Oh boy, it's been a crazy week. It's been a crazy week. But I hope you have enjoyed this show. Again, this is every Thursday, 9 p.m. We'll see what we have next week because it seems like every week is something involving Florida. And again, when it comes to the whole Libs of TikTok situation, really, leave in the comments below. Do you think people who are on doxing Taylor Lorenz for doxing Libs of TikTok is acceptable, or do you think it's something that should still be we should still stand against doxing regardless, regardless if it's being done in retaliation, right? What do you think? Leave in the comments below. Either way, thanks so much for watching, and we'll be talking again real soon.